Hi guys, welcome to Dee's Cooking. Today we are making butternut squash roasted. It's gonna be fun. Come on guys. But not like, I'm sorry, not roasted soup, which does make a huge difference. How was everybody's day? If anybody would like to talk about their day or a problem they've been having, trying to cook or get inspiration for cooking, or even weight loss tips, like common sense stuff, I could help out. Just hit me in the comments if you have any questions or ask anything. So what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to microwave it because I cannot cut through this without microwaving it. So I am going to microwave it for about 3-4 minutes to start with. Then I'm going to check it and take some tongs and move it. I'm also poking holes in it so that if there's any buildup on it, it won't explode, so to speak. We're back. It's been 4 minutes, and then I let it sit for 2 minutes because I didn't want it to. It is soft. I don't know if it'll be completely soft, but it is soft enough to peel. I just I don't like peeling it when it's hard. I don't like cutting it when it's hard. So much easier. I have a funny story about potato peelers. When I was younger, I'm left-handed, obviously. When I was younger, there were not any left-handed things until I got to be almost a teenager. But my grandparents drive across the country to get us, and then we drive back across the country. Well, when we were going, they'd stop at this flea market, and they'd stop and get stuff. They found left-handed potato peelers, notebooks, scissors. They bought them out. I still have it. It was the only way I could use a potato peeler, because if not, I would have to somehow turn it around like this, and it just became very dangerous. Or using my right hand, and it's like, you know, like this, you know, trying to cut, and it's like, no, a child does not need to be doing that. So they found me this potato peeler at a flea market, and it was really, 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 really neat, because that was pretty cool. I'd never been able to cut, like, you know, real. This potato peeler goes both ways, and it's from the dollar store. So I think now they've kind of adapted this whole left-handed thing. We will be interviewing my grandmother next week. We are both going to cook for the homeless. We're going to make zucchini bread because my uncle has an abundance of it in his garden. So it was either going to go to waste, or we are going to cook a large amount of something with zucchini. Of course, I'm gonna shred some and keep it in my freezer for when I do gluten-free dishes. Gluten, I always, like, I'll go grocery shopping and then I'll be too tired to put everything away. So we'll just, you know, leave it out for the day. And then the next day we'll come back and we'll put it up. And the next day I'll cook something really large and fill the dishwasher and half of the back counter full of dishes because the recipe I used. I don't just cook one thing or two things. Sometimes I cook a lot of food, or I prep a lot of food and the kitchen's just not big enough for it. So I am going to let's cut this neck off. We are going to want to remove these seeds. I almost want to plant them. I try to cook with the vegetables in season to make sure that I'm, you know, I mean, it's nice to have vegetables all year round, but let's be honest. Where is there vegetables all year round? All the time. They'd have to be shipped for a ways. Did y'all know that the apples you buy from the supermarket can be up to a year old? It's crazy. This you find out about the food. So I make sure I buy in-season food, and I buy it from the farmer's market during the summer. And during the winter, I kind of just do what I can. Not gonna lie, I'm still not used to these winters. I'm used to the South. Guys, it's Dee's Cooking. I got myself some avocado oil. You'll have to remember, while eating healthy, right? We're eating healthy, we're being healthy, we're doing great things. We do not want to forget that we still have to have oil to get stuff through our guts. And we want to make sure everything slides right on through. For a healthy meal, you need your carbohydrates, your healthy fats, and your proteins and your fiber. Fruit and veggies, all that fun stuff. Get all that stuff in. And we're gonna cook this for a few minutes. It's really more, about a minute total. Then we're gonna add our curry, cinnamon, and pepper mixture to the, once we add our, have that flavor. That's what we're going for, is the flavor of it. Okay, we're going to put our butternut squash in. We're going to You always get a few goners when I do this. Okay, so, because I know this will not be enough for my family. No, let's put that other squash in. I'm going to, in a second, give this to my daughter. As soon as these are cooked, we have to, once they're in here, we're going to coat them, turn them in to this. But what we're also going to do, I'm just kind of coating them in the oil right now that's on the bottom of this pan. That way it has something to stick to the seasoning, guys. So we're just going to kind of put this in, mix it up, stir it up a little bit. And now the goal of this is to kind of get your squash flavored, because we're gonna grind it up into a soup with an emulsion blender. So once they're cooked fully through and they're kind of browned, it says to cook them for 4 minutes with the lid on. Right, I know y'all can hear that. It sounds good. Sounds like that is coming together nicely. Okay, it's been cooking for 8 minutes. Very low-key dish. So what I gotta do is now cut that in half. That cook quicker. The ones that are really hard still, I'm gonna cut them in half. Okay, so I'm gonna push some of this to the side, guys, when I pour my stuff in, because now this is vegetable broth, garlic, and chili powder. It's just a tablespoon of chili powder. And then we're going to slowly merge it over. Look at how creamy that looks. That is going to be delicious. I usually try to combine my wet ingredients together before I do the other stuff, so you know it. Make sure it mixes really, really well. And then I need 3 tablespoons, and I'm going to do 2 tablespoons of maple syrup. And you're going to want to let that boil. Try to do the least amount of seasoning. I should put that in there too. Now, everything is going to come to a boil, and then we're going to put the lid on and let it simmer for 15 or 20 minutes. That sounds good. Alright guys, it's boiling. It looks great, doesn't it? So now that it's boiling, we don't want it to cook too fast. We want the flavors to infuse. We're going to turn it down to a simmer, and then we are going to cover and let it cook, stirring occasionally. Alright, now we're going to make our pork chops while that's cooking. I'm going to turn this on. And I'm going to take and lay these right over the onions. Those are going to kind of char and be the skin to the pork chop. This is a quick and easy weeknight meal. I am also, because the soup is supposed to simmer for 15, so I don't lose track of time doing everything else. The soup should take about 15 minutes, and the pork chop should take about 15-20 minutes. The soup, after it's done, I want to turn the burner off, take it off the fire, and let it sit for a few minutes. That kind of fuses the rest of it together. Have you ever made soup and the next day it tastes far better than it did the day that you actually made it? It's because things have had time to sit and the flavors mix together, and it really explodes. So just to get this going, I had it on high heat, but you want it on medium heat. Kind of medium towards the medium high heat's better. No oil is really necessary. The onions, since they've been frozen, have water in them. The water is going to keep the pan from sticking. Once the water burns off, that's when I want to flip them. That's when I will cook the other part of it and the onions will kind of start charring up. I do want to check on the soup real quick. It's been a few minutes, just to make sure. We'll have soup, the salad, and the pork chops. Just flipped them. I stepped out for a second and I came back in and they were almost burning. So I want to get a little bit of moisture back in them. Put a lid on them for a few seconds. Now you can leave this butternut squash soup with lumps and chunks in it. I do have an emulsion blender I'm thinking about using to make it creamy, thick and creamy. I'll probably use an emulsion blender and then it should thicken up, but if it doesn't, I will use cornstarch and water to thicken it up. I've just never made this recipe and I don't know what I'm doing here. All learning experience. I did turn the pork chops down to medium-low heat. Let's see if that caused it. Okay, so pork chops are almost done. They've got their own kind of char thing going on. The onions are charred up, but not fully charred up. I like charred food a lot. Maybe don't let them sit for 10 minutes before you turn them like I did. I did step out, that was my bad, but I actually like them this charred. All right, guys, get my tongs out. I do believe that they're done. How you can tell your meat is done, visibly, do you see it leaking blood? Is it white? So we'll inspect it. I do not see any leaked blood. It looks fully white, opaque to me. And then I am gonna pick up these onions. And you do wanna let your meat rest for at least 10 minutes. The juices and the flavor. Hi guys, we're back. Pork chops are done and out. The curry soup just needs to be emulsified. Make sure to keep the blender down below the water line. This will definitely need to be thickened because I mean it's nice and creamy, but that is too watery for me. All right guys, we take a teaspoonful, a little over a teaspoon, with some cold water, and we add about 3 tablespoons of cold water. Mix her up really good. Now we're gonna pour this into our soup, but we're gonna wanna make sure that we bring it up to a boil. and it cooks because it'll have to cook to get this. I don't know about y'all, but this does look very good. Very good. Now we just have to cook it until it thickens.